So today I wanted to take a look at one of the most mysterious relationships in the rebooted Modern Warfare universe. Whenever people talk about the reboot, the conversation usually revolves around maybe Ghost and Soap or Price and Gas, but there's one relationship that has quietly existed in the background since before Modern Warfare 2019, and Infinity Ward hasn't really explored it. Captain John Price and Simon Ghost Riley clearly have years of history together. However, we don't know how they first met or really any of the missions they were on before the games, or how they built the level of trust that they showcased in Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3. So today I wanted to piece together their lives and careers and find out if we can tell their story and better understand why their face-off in Modern Warfare 4 is much more complicated than it first seems. Alright, so what happened before the events of Modern Warfare 2019? John Price joined the British Army at 16 years old and eventually became one of the youngest officers to graduate from the Royal Military Academy. After passing Special Air Service selection, he spent years carrying out covert operations across the Middle East before being promoted to captain in 2011, taking command of Unit Bravo. From that point onward, Price was responsible for leading one of the Special Air Service premier counterterrorism units, specializing in hostage rescue, close-quarter combats, high-value target operations, and classified missions. Now, Simon Riley, on the other hand, joined the Special Air Service and spent the majority of his military career carrying out short-term covert deployments and classified assignments across the world. He specialized in sabotage, infiltration, ambushes, and operating deep inside enemy territory, eventually adopting his iconic skull mask to protect his identity while in the field. By the time we hear about Ghost in the reboot, he's already one of the Special Air Service most experienced soldiers, with years of operational experience behind him, and he's a lieutenant. When you compare both of their histories, we can more easily speculate about their shared past. For example, Price became captain of Unit Bravo in 2011. Certainly, Ghost was already operating at that time as well, and one would assume that their paths would cross shortly after 2011. I would say the missing years of Price and Ghost relationship is between 2011 and 2018. I would like to assume this is where the foundations of their friendship began. Now, the earliest confirmed mission featuring both characters takes place in April of 2019 during the operation to capture Vladimir Makarov in Verdansk. Here, Captain Price, Simon Ghost Riley, and Sergeant John Soap McTavish were deployed together under General Herschel Shepard to stop Makarov during the terrorist attack on Verdansk Stadium. Although they would successfully capture Makarov, their entire operation turned out to be a diversion while another attack destroyed Verdansk International Airport. This mission is important because it basically lets us know that by April of 2019, Price, Ghost, and Soap were already operating together as a unit, and the trust shown in the mission suggests that they were probably working together for at least a year. Now, during that operation, we don't see Gas, and that would make sense because by that point, Captain Price hadn't met him yet. Here's where the fun part kind of begins, and it turns more into informed speculation. Personally, I don't believe that the Verdansk op was the first mission Price and Ghost ever did. I actually think it was far from it. I mean, Price had already spent 8 years commanding Unit Bravo by 2019. His whole career since 2011 was basically leading classified operations against high-value targets all across the world. And around the same time, Ghost was one of the best at carrying out exactly those kind of operations. So if Ghost had already established himself as one of the Special Air Service best, then it makes sense that Captain Price would bring him into Unit Bravo. This would suggest that Simon Ghost Riley spent years serving under Price's command before we officially saw them together in Modern Warfare 2. So from 2011 to 2018, Price and Ghost, alongside Unit Bravo, would probably have done countless operations together. Now, Infinity Ward never showed us this stuff, but the way that Price talks about Ghost and vice versa always gave a sense that the history those two men shared was long. Let's revisit the ending of Modern Warfare 2019. After Barkov is eliminated, Price meets with Kate Laswell to discuss forming Task Force 141. Look how they discuss Simon Riley.
There he is. Simon Riley.
There's no picture.
Never.
With this conversation, you can infer that Captain Price has full trust in Simon Ghost Riley and is probably bringing him in from his former team Unit Bravo into this newly formed task force. That same level of trust continues throughout Modern Warfare 2. One of my favorite examples of this trust is shown here.
Good to see you again, Simon.
When Ghost removes his mask, you can kind of see a reaction from Soap, from Gas, and the Mexican Special Forces because they've never seen him without it. And you can clearly see Ghost not hesitate, but he's still cautious about removing it. Well, everyone had a reaction except for Price. He literally just smiled at him. I think that's dope as fuck. It tells us so much about their shared history in just a small sentence. It really shows us that to almost everyone, he is the Ghost, this savage operator who so many are scared of. But to Captain Price, he's just Simon Riley, his friend, his brother, a man that he can fully trust, one that has been standing next to him since his Unit Bravo days. He knows the man behind the mask, and I think that's pretty fucking beautiful. Because of this shared history, I think that Modern Warfare 4 becomes even more tragic, especially if what we see in the reveal trailer is true. Maybe for the first time in over a decade, Ghost feels that Price lost it. Maybe he pushed the line too far, and he now has to stop the man that he respected and served under for so many years. We always think of Price and Ghost's relationship from Modern Warfare 2 to Modern Warfare 3, and that would be 1 year in game from 2022 to 2023. But nah, man, their relationship began way before that. So this clash that they're headed towards in Modern Warfare 4 may cut a lot deeper than it seemed at first glance. One thing that I do want to argue though is that because their relationship is so long and their trust comes from years of operating together and doing things that we never saw, there's an understanding between these two characters, and understanding that maybe only they get. And what if this shared history actually brings them together in Modern Warfare 4? Right now, the marketing wants us to believe that Captain Price and Simon Ghost Riley are on opposite sides, and the reveal trailer even hints at a confrontation between them. But the more that I think about it, the less that makes sense. If everything we've just explored is true, then Ghost understands who John Price is. So what if Ghost eventually realizes that Price is only trying to stop something even worse from happening in Korea? From what we know so far regarding Modern Warfare 4, we have theorized that maybe Price is trying to move or get this dangerous weapon before anyone else can use it, or so he can use it to stop the Korean War. Now, he does this knowing fully well that he may have put a target on his back, labeling him one of the most wanted men in the world. However, here is where their shared history would come into play. And because Ghost knows Price so well, he may realize or give the benefit of the doubt to Price and allow him to explain himself. And here he may convince him to join him in this final operation for old time's sakes. Whether Ghost ultimately joins Price or not is another question entirely, and one we will cover in a later video this week. But for now, I thought exploring their history a bit more would be a great way to see what's really at stake in Modern Warfare 4 regarding these two legendary operators. And honestly, in the long run, I think it would be much better than seeing Price and Ghost fight each other. I mean, think about it. Price is done, tired, almost looking defeated in the Modern Warfare 4 campaign. And as he stands up, he's ready to die fighting against his second in command, his brother Ghost. But then Simon Riley stops and tells him that he understands exactly what he is doing and that they got one more op in them. I mean, come the fuck on. Isn't that shit fucking heat, or am I tripping?